The hidden war inside your morning, how your first words decide your strength. There is a silent war happening every morning, a war most people do not even realize they are losing. From the moment your eyes open, your mind is no longer asleep. It is listening, it is absorbing. And whether you notice it or not, the very first words, the first thoughts you allow into that sacred space are not casual. They are commands. They shape the direction of your day. They set the rhythm of your emotions. They determine whether you walk through the next 16 hours with quiet power or with hidden defeat. But here's the part most people never question. The battle for your mind starts long before the outside world touches you. It begins in those fragile minutes, lying in your bed, before you have even placed your feet on the floor. And yet, what do most people do? They surrender. They grab their phones. They scroll through noise. They let the world shout into their mind before they have whispered anything truthful to themselves. What happens then is subtle but dangerous. You start living as a reaction, not as a choice. Your worth, your strength, your ability to lead your life gets dictated by filtered images, urgent notifications, and other people's expectations. You hand over your mind before you have even taken your first breath with intention. And when you live like that, you are not leading your life. You are surviving it, barely holding on, wondering why peace feels so far away. But what if I told you the words you speak to yourself the moment you wake up hold the power to completely change your reality? What if, with a few grounded, intentional sentences, you could rewire the foundation of your strength, clarity, and emotional resilience before the world even has the chance to test you? Buddha's story welcomes you to this journey of reflection and deep self awareness. What we are about to explore is not philosophy for dreamers. It is the ancient, often ignored truth that has shaped masters, monks, and warriors throughout history. Stay until the end, because the insight you will gain may just be the missing piece that explains why your life feels chaotic and how to reclaim control from the inside out. Let me share with you a story that reveals how this silent battle unfolds in ways most never see. There was once a seeker named Elias. Raised in the shadows of a remote temple, Elias watched the elder monks begin every morning in stillness. They would sit, eyes closed, mouths moving silently, repeating words he could not hear. For years, Elias dismissed these morning rituals as superstition. He believed strength came from the body, from practice, from action, not from words whispered into the dawn. But when a great storm devastated the valley, when crops failed, when outsiders brought conflict to the peaceful temple, Elias noticed something remarkable. While many panicked, while even the strongest warriors lost themselves to fear and confusion, the elders stood calm, their eyes steady, their choices precise. It was then Elias understood. Their strength was not born in the chaos of the battlefield, but in the silence of their mornings. Those unseen words had built an unseen armor, shielding them long before the world tried to shake them. You see, the words you speak to yourself at sunrise are not small. They are seeds, seeds that grow roots into your mind, shaping how you walk, how you react, how you endure. But here lies the danger. If you do not plant those seeds with awareness, the world plants them for you. And the world rarely chooses peace. It chooses distraction, noise, fear, and comparison. And that becomes your foundation unless you intervene. Most people live unaware of this. They stumble into the day with no direction. They let emails, social media, deadlines, and other people's energy set their tone. They wonder why their focus crumbles, why their confidence disappears, why life feels like a storm they cannot control. But the truth is, they surrendered their mind long before life tested it. They lost the battle not on the battlefield, but in their bed, the moment they let noise in before clarity. But you have another choice: to reclaim those first moments, to sharpen your mental sword before the day begins, to declare to yourself, even quietly, I am grounded, I am capable, I lead my mind. When you do this, you are not pretending life is perfect. You are preparing for the imperfection with strength. You are reminding your subconscious who is in control before fear, doubt, and distraction try to convince you otherwise. The ancient teachers understood this deeply. They taught that the mind, left untrained, becomes your greatest opponent. But the mind, when directed with intention, becomes your greatest shield. And it begins with your morning words. Elias learned this the hard way. After witnessing the elders' quiet strength, He committed to changing his mornings. No more scrolling, no more reactive living. Each sunrise, he whispered to himself words of grounding, strength, and clarity. And over time, without dramatic events, something changed. His reaction softened, his confidence deepened. When challenges came, as they always do, Elias no longer collapsed under pressure. He stood anchored, not because life got easier, but because his mind got stronger. This is not a miracle. This is repetition. This is choosing, each morning, to be the master of your mind, not its slave. And it starts simply with a sentence, with your own voice, with the decision to lead, not react. So let me ask you, who spoke to your mind this morning? Was it your own voice of strength or the world's voice of noise? Did you plant the seeds of calm and confidence, or did you unknowingly let fear and distraction write your script? Your answer reveals far more than you think. It reveals whether you are shaping your life or surrendering to it. Before we continue, take a moment to reflect with me. Here is a question for your heart. If you could only choose one, what would you rather your first words each morning create within you? A. Immediate comfort, but no lasting strength. B. Quiet discipline that grows deep resilience over time. Comment your answer below with A or B and let me know how you will choose to start your mornings from now on. Your words are not small. They are the beginning of everything. The morning sword, how words become the armor of the mind. There is a moment every morning that most people waste without even realizing it. A window of time so small, yet so powerful, that it quietly decides whether your day becomes an extension of your fear or a reflection of your strength. It is not found in your to-do list, nor in your phone, nor in the conversations with others. It is hidden in the simple words you speak to yourself before the outside world gets its grip on your mind. But few people ever use this moment wisely. They stumble into the day distracted, reactive, unprepared. Their first thoughts are not crafted with care. They are contaminated by doubt, criticism, hesitation. Without knowing it, they step into life unarmed. Their words dull their confidence. Their silence strengthens their inner critic. And so, by the time life tests them, their mental armor is cracked, their foundation unstable. But here is the truth. Ancient wisdom has whispered for centuries. Your words are not harmless. They are the architects of your inner world. Spoken carelessly, they build walls of fear and ceilings of limitation. Spoken intentionally, they forge shields of resilience and swords of clarity. Consider the story of Kale, a young apprentice in a forgotten monastery tucked deep within the mountains. Unlike the warriors who trained their bodies, Kale was chosen by the elders for a different path, a path of mastering the mind. His mornings were not filled with physical drills, but with silence, breath, and quiet declarations that seemed to him at first almost foolish. While others practiced their strikes, he practiced his sentences. At first, Kale struggled to believe in the process. His words felt weak, his mind noisy with doubt. But with patience, he began to notice something subtle, yet life-changing. When challenges arose, while others froze in fear or lashed out in anger, Kale remained steady. His reactions slowed. His confidence grew. The words he had once whispered into the silence of the morning echoed back to him when he needed them most. This is not magic. It is mental conditioning. The same principle that warriors use to train their bodies, applied to the battlefield within. Buddhist teachings have long understood this. The Buddha taught that the mind, left unguarded, becomes the source of suffering. But the mind, when trained through right speech and awareness, becomes the foundation of liberation. And your mornings are your training ground. Imagine for a moment two people facing the same obstacle, a sudden failure, a betrayal, an unexpected hardship. One began their morning feeding their mind with negativity, passivity, and doubt. The other began with words of quiet power, anchoring themselves in resilience. When the hardship arrives, the first crumbles, overcome by panic and insecurity. The second, though shaken, remains centered, able to respond with clarity. What separates them is not luck, it is not circumstances. It is the simple, often invisible choice to lead the mind before the world leads it. Your morning words sharpen or dull the sword you carry into life. They decide whether your inner voice becomes your weapon or your weakness. The mind believes what it hears consistently. Speak weakness, and it will search for evidence of your flaws. Speak strength, and it will search for evidence of your potential. But this requires discipline. It requires showing up for yourself every morning, even when doubt whispers otherwise. Kale's journey revealed this to him in ways no external success ever could. Over time, his words were no longer just sentences. They became his shield in moments of uncertainty. They became his guide when chaos threatened to consume him. His greatest battles were not fought with weapons, but with the strength of a mind conditioned by intention. And so it is with you. The world is loud. It is unpredictable, often overwhelming. But your internal world does not have to be. You cannot control every circumstance, but you can control how prepared your mind is to meet them. Your words, spoken with clarity and purpose, are your preparation. Most people never understand this. They wake up already surrendered to distraction. They reach for their phones, filling their minds with filtered realities and external demands before they have grounded themselves. Their day belongs to everything outside them before it ever belongs to themselves. But when you reclaim your mornings, when you speak to yourself not with hesitation, but with quiet authority, everything shifts. You begin to carry yourself differently. You meet challenges not as a victim, but as a creator of your response. You walk through life sharpened, not dulled by circumstance. This is the essence of self-leadership. It does not begin in the heat of the battle, but in the silence of the morning. It begins with a choice to speak to yourself with strength before the world has a chance to speak with fear. The Buddha once said, "With our thoughts, we make the world. But those thoughts are shaped first by our words, by the language we consistently use within." So ask yourself, are your words building walls of limitation or forging pathways of growth? Are you dulling your inner sword with criticism and hesitation or sharpening it with clarity and strength? Every morning, that choice awaits you. And over time, those choices become your identity. Kale did not become unshakable overnight. It was the quiet, consistent practice of leading his mind, of choosing words that served his growth, that transformed him from within. You have the same power. Your mornings are not trivial. They are sacred invitations to craft the foundation of your resilience, your peace, your focus. It begins not with the world's demands, but with your own voice. And the words you choose become the life you create. Speak wisely, sharpen your mind. The battle may be uncertain, but your preparation never has to be.